Woodcraft, helping you make woodwork.
Okay, so here's some more. These are some that we've done previously here in the store. These are actually dyed, okay? So basically what you're gonna pass around now is what we're doing in the tank right now, okay? So these are stabilized and dyed pieces of buckeye burl. You could. And in fact, stabilizing can actually be done. It doesn't have to be done in a tank like this. You know the big vinyl or whatever they're made of bags that you use for vacuum veneering? You can actually do stabilizing in a bag like that. Yeah. So I mean, there's more ways than just what you're seeing here on the table to do stabilizing. So if you wanted to stabilize a big piece of spalted maple or what have you for that kind of project, you certainly could. Yeah, you certainly could. Now, the dye penetration on these pieces is actually, from what we've found with pieces of it that we've turned, the dye penetration actually ends up being pretty deep. Almost to the point of being all the way down into the center of the wood. It's not 100% consistent, because even on a piece of real punky wood like this, you're going to have variations in the density of the grain, okay? And that's what causes variations in the color, that's a result of the dyeing process.
That would be kind of hard to get to exactly the same, so
Yeah. Basically, I mean, like you see, this is still bubbling. Looks like the purple is still a little more active, whereas the red over here seems like it's starting to slow down a little bit. Those are going to that's because of the variation in the wood, as much as it is anything else, okay? The fluids are all the same, it's just a different color. Okay, so where this one is starting to slow down a little bit, it's because of the wood. This one's apparently still got quite a bit of air in it, and it's just taken it a while to stop bubbling, okay? It's best to let it run until the bubbling stops, because the more air that you draw out of it, then when you reintroduce air to the vessel, it carries the fluid that much deeper into the wood, okay? So you want to let this run as long as it takes, basically. And we're pulling, looks like about 22 inches of mercury, which at our altitude above sea level is about what we're going to get. You might be, we might, I suppose, get up to 23 or 24, but 22 is about average. That's what we're finding around this area. I don't think it's ever gone much above that, has it, Nick? 22? Okay. So, but 22 inches is plenty. That's plenty of vacuum, okay? I mean, you could, I'm not going to do it, but you probably could reach under this rim and pick the whole thing up. I mean, the vacuum is that strong. I'm not going to test that theory, but because as soon as I did that, the hose would pop loose and all manner of nasty things would happen. But, so that's a little bit about stabilizing. You have any questions? That's a good question. What do you clean up with afterward? Believe it or not, this is a soap and water cleanup. Soap and water. Yeah, soap and water cleanup. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice. So, we touched on this a few minutes ago, but let me kind of back up and talk about it again. We talked about decanting part of that gallon and mixing in the catalyst, okay? If you're mainly going to be doing small pieces of wood like what I dropped into the jars today, then once you have that quart mixed up, then decant that into smaller containers like we've done here, and now you can have multiple colors, just like what you're seeing down here, okay? You could have natural, okay, if you wanted natural. This piece of buckeye burl is stabilized with just a natural color fluid, okay? So basically no color added to it at all. The buckeye that's going around, that's been stabilized with color added to it, okay? So decant into smaller containers from your quart, and you can make your resin last you for a long, long time that way. So, Dean.
What kind of temperatures are you talking about in your oven? Is it like low temperatures, like 250, 300, or are we talking
200.
200?
200.
That's pretty low.
Yep, yep. And what the heat does, the heat is what actually causes the chemicals in the resin to polymerize, okay, and turn into this kind of thing, like what's going around right now, okay? That's what the heat does. When it comes out of the liquid, you wrap it in foil, you bake it 30 to 60 minutes at 200 degrees Fahrenheit. When you take it out of the oven, we discovered this the first time we did it. 200 degrees doesn't sound like it's, you know, all that. Trust me, it's all that when you take it out of the oven. They're very, very hot.
The water boils just above that.
At 212, yes, yeah. Well, you know, we didn't think about that, but yeah. So use a pot holder, tongs, or something.
Is the foil just for leakage?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't think it adds anything. It just contains the fluid. Yeah, yeah.
If you stored that cooler, it would extend your shelf life for that mix.
If you what?
If you stored it cooler, the heat speeds that up.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if that would make a lot of difference or not. Like if you kept it refrigerated, you mean?
Or just in the basement or a cool spot.
It might increase the shelf life some, yeah. And maybe that's what their labeling says, plus. Well, they don't really define that for us.
Yeah, if the heat makes that set up, it would just
Yeah.
seem like that would help.
Could very well. Yeah, could very well. Yes, sir.
Have you ever tried doing something a little bit bigger like bowl? I mean, when I'm thinking about is bowls, so I'm thinking about, okay, probably rough turning it.
Uh-huh.
Maybe, I don't know, inch and a half, 2-inch ball thickness so you can get better penetration. But I mean, have you ever tried something like that?
We have not here at the store, but I have seen it done. The gentleman that actually, I don't know if he developed the product or if he just promos it or what, but I've seen him do a demonstration of stabilizing a I think it was a rough turn bowl, and he did it like Clayton and I were talking about, in a big bag, a vacuum veneering bag, rather than in one of the vessels like these. Okay, so yes, that can be done. We have not tried it, but it can be done. Yeah.
Plant a bigger toaster oven.
Well, yeah. That's a good point. You would need a bigger oven. Yeah. And I say don't use the same oven that you cook in. I certainly wouldn't, but I don't know what kind of vapors or fumes it gives off, whether it would, cause any damage or lasting effects to your oven. I think you'd just be better off to not use the same one that you cook your food in. The health department would agree. Okay, we have an FDA guy over here, so yeah.
To dispose of it, they've got a place where you hazardous materials.
I would.
It's a dump and you just
Yeah.
put them out there.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I would put it in some kind of a container and take it out to the recycling center where they can dispose of it properly.
Have you noticed the viscosity of the product
Well, it's like I said a minute ago, we haven't had any get to that point yet. So, until we've had some sitting around for, 6 months or a year, I just don't have a good answer for that.
mixed liquid?
Yeah,
You have one over there?
right over here.
Oh, it's over there. And what's it sell for, John, in a gallon?
$99. So this is the quart and the gallon. Quart goes for $33.99. The gallon, $99.99. Dyes are $9.99. But again, there's a full 1 ounce in here, and you use it at the rate of 1/4 teaspoon per quart. So the dyes are going to last you for a long time, okay? Again, the gallon kit has 4 packets of the catalyst in it, okay? The quart comes with 1 packet, okay?
Can you use it on woods that have oil, natural oil?
You know, you probably could, but I don't know how effective it's going to be. I think you're going to have better results with wood that's drier and that has less oil in it like that. Because just like with adhesives and other types of finishes, you know, woods that are real oily can cause adhesion problems. Now, granted, this is not an adhesive and it doesn't really have any adhesive properties, but I suspect that oil would probably interfere with the polymerization of the chemical. I don't know that for a fact, okay? You'd kind of have to experiment with that to see. But you know, some of the oilier woods, at least that we use in woodworking, a lot of them are rosewoods, which wouldn't lend themselves real well to stabilizing anyway because they're so hard and dense. You know, so
But cedar is got a lot of oil, but it's very soft.
yeah, you're absolutely right. And so basically, I think what you'd have to do is just kind of experiment with it to see if it worked or not. I've not done any wood like that. It'd be an interesting thing to try, though. Yeah.
Checks so heavily.
Mhm.
They're always fighting the
Yeah.
But I wonder what it would do to the chemicals that
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. As the air is drawn out of the blank, is that going to draw some of that oil out as well, and then contaminate the rest, you know, the fluid that you're going to try to use again? That's a possibility as well. Something to be aware of, anyway. Yeah, yeah.